Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Oh, delicious. Today is Monday, February 24th. And yeah, here we are. Here we are again, another week, last week of February, 2 months into 2025. Ah, so I hope you all had a good weekend. I did. I know that sounded dubious. It was kind of a different weekend for me. Um, and I can't really say why. I think I did a lot of resting. I was messaging with my friend Kelly Robson, sci fi author extraordinaire, uh, on Sunday morning, yesterday morning. And she asked me what I was doing. And I said, being lazy. I was sitting in my reading chair reading a book. And she said, or resting. She's good that way. I was like, okay, yes, I'm resting. Um, yeah, so, let me do this before I forget, and then I'll talk more about my life, the details of which you all are inexplicably interested in. I have to tell you that I really do appreciate the comments and messages I get from you all thanking me for sharing the mundane details of my life with you. I'm glad you care. Somebody's got to. Okay, so we have talked previously, but look at the beautiful. This is, if you're not on video, the ARC, the advanced reading copy of Never the Roses, in all of its loveliness. And I has a big box of them. Some are spoken for. I will tell you, there is a special secret thing. It's really not a special secret thing. There is something that is in the acknowledgments of in the arc that will not be in the final. So scholars, it will not be hard for you to figure out why, but yeah, you all, it's something to know. If you have an arc, you will see something that is not in the final. But my point here, and I do have one besides the doing Vanna White with my beautiful cover. For those of you who have not seen it, I'll probably put the cover on the show notes. But it's got a purple rose on the front that's charred on one side. It's all very emblematic of how the book is. Anyway, my point, and I do have one, is that we are taking signups for an ARC team, Advanced Reading Copy team. I'm going to link to the Google form, the form de Google, and you all, if interested, can apply. Assistant Corrine, the ruthless, I call her the No Dragon for a reason. She's the one deciding who gets in. It's not me. I don't want to be responsible. She is also a book blogger and avid reader, so I trust her to know. Take it up with her. I suppose you could always appeal to me, but really, I mean, Corrine she tells me no too, so who's going to win that argument? um, so there will be paper arcs, and also there's EPUB arcs. So you could potentially be on the team. Uh, One thing I will tell you is it's not exactly a trick question, but I feel like is a question that's in there that may seem unimportant, but it's important to me. And that is, are you interested in being like on my forever arc team? My forever team. Do you want to read and review my books as Jeffy Kennedy, as well as Jennifer K. Lambert? I have to get my Vanna White thing going the right direction for the camera. Um, because I totally get that a lot of people really want to read this book. I mean, who can blame you, because it's amazing. But also, it would be nice to flesh out the team for the other books as well. So there's your hint. That's one one answer is being weighted more heavily than another. But I figure if you're a reader and a podcast listener, then you should get an extra in anyway. Feel free to mention those things to Corrine. Like I said, she's tough. She's a real tough audience. I will also give, well, no, we won't go there. Yeah, so, well, yeah, I am going to say, yeah, politics matter. I can't imagine if you have shitty politics that you are listening to my podcast for very long. But yeah, I'm sorry, no Trumpers. That's just how it is. I just it's too dire. That we're not in this place where we're saying, oh well, Biden and Trump are the same, because they're not. We are not in this place where it's like it doesn't matter who's in office, because it does. We're looking at a really dark time in U.S. history, and yeah, if I know that it's hard for some people to see it this way, but basically, a vote for Trump is a vote against queer rights, transgender rights, the rights of people of color, the rights of women. It's enabled all of his presidency now is enabling all sorts of horrible things. And yeah, I'm sorry, I don't think we can be on the same team. So there's that. So let's see. What else? I wanted to talk about that. Oh, we could go back to my brilliantly exciting weekend. I've been reading this book, so it was kind of good. I am part of this book group, this science fiction fantasy book club, which I really enjoy. It's fun because book clubs get you to read books you wouldn't normally read, but these are all science fiction fantasy, obviously. So it's within my favorite genre. So, yeah, sorry, I got distracted because Assistant Corrine messaged me. We've been having website issues. So anyway, I've been reading this book, and I think I won't say what it is. I was behind on starting it, which was partly my fault. I had rabbit holed on this other series. I nearly picked it up way back when, because our January book club pick I'd already read, which was Naomi Novik's Deadly Education. And I'd recommended it. I loved that trilogy. So I had, and then we didn't meet in December. So I had this huge break, right? I could have been reading this book at any time, and I'd nearly picked it up. I bought it a long time ago. But then I sort of rabbit holed into this other trilogy, which I ultimately did not end up finishing. And I don't know if I ever really talked about some of my issues with that, but I'll talk about that now, since this seems like it's going to be Talk About Books Day. That particular trilogy was self-published. I'm trying to think of a way to distinguish these ones that I'm talking about, since I don't really want to call out authors and titles. But we'll just call it the Romantasy Trilogy, not Naomi Novik's. A Deadly Education, those books, utterly brilliant. If you haven't read, you should. But this Romantasy Trilogy, someone had recommended the first book to me, and I really liked it, especially the first book. And I went on to read all the way through about 75% of the third book. And what happened? What happened on book 3? Well, one thing that happened was I think this series took off, and which is, great for the author. But you could tell in book 3, and you could tell this in trad pub books too, this happens all the time, where instead of winding up the story, they've decided to draw it out. Now, I'm going to full mea culpa this. I know that my series go on way longer than I think they're going to, than I say they're going to, all of these things. And I'm going to tell you, Scout's honor, I actually am a Girl Scout, or was. I'd swear on Gamma Phi that I don't mean to do it. And I'm never deliberately spinning out the story. What do I mean by deliberately spinning out? So there are a couple of mysteries in this trilogy, which there often are. I mean, the wanting to know what's going on is a huge reason why we read a story, right? You know, it's like, oh, well, I really need to know what happens with such and so, or what's the deal with. So in this particular trilogy, in the first book, the protagonist, the heroine, um, her magic tries to show her something. She sees something, but she knows if the secret is revealed to her, that it will put her life in danger. And it's something I enjoyed about this series, was that this particular protagonist is not terribly kick-ass. She knows her limitations, and she does a lot of things to make sure that she can stay alive, because she's not the strongest. So when she has the opportunity to see through to this secret, she very determinedly does not, which is a fascinating choice. I mean, you don't see that choice very often, and I really like that. And this persists through book 2, which is fine. But it is an ongoing mystery. It's like who is this person that's hiding their identity? And in the third book, she still deliberately does not look, because she decides it's none of her business. And it became very clear to me that, I mean, it's kind of well done in that she uses that. She says, I won't look. I won't find out what your secret is, because it's not my business, but then you're going to leave my friends alone, kind of thing. Which works, except that there's really no reason why she couldn't look and still keep the secret and tell us, right? Because after a certain point, it begins to feel like the author is simply milking the secret to keep us on the hook. And it can be effective. It's why cliffhangers are effective, to keep people coming back. But I don't know, you have to... I'm in a minority on this maybe now, because I really don't believe in cliffhangers, and I've been accused of writing them before, but I don't think I write the kind of cliffhangers we're talking about. I write unresolved endings, yes, but not the hanging on to the cliff, like, are they going to live or die? And that's a very popular kind of ending now, to keep readers coming back, and it's effective. Readers will say they hate them, which we all do, but then they come back. So it's sort of the difference between what we say we want and our actual buying habits. I don't know how effective this was. I'm not going to keep going through the series, because partly that it annoyed me that we were clearly not going to find out this secret anytime soon. And there's a lot of books ongoing. And I started to get kind of bored. I mean, the romance got resolved. They're together, but it didn't really have the excitement I would have liked for it to have. One of the other things that happened to me, and I promise this is related with my not reading the book that I was supposed to be reading for book group, was the new J.D. Rubb book came out. And I know I talked about that on here a little bit, but as soon as that hits my Kindle, I'm going to read the next Eve Dallas installment, right? And that series is a really good one to study if you want to see how to keep a romantic relationship interesting even after the couple are together. When it's no longer just about the sexual tension, no longer does he like me, does he not? We're actually getting into a real relationship. I was a little, if you listen a lot, you know that I was a little disappointed in this one, in that the romance and marriage felt entirely too easy. Uh, it wasn't that sparkly for me this time. I, missed that edge. And what is the edge? What are we looking for? That's probably a whole nother podcast that I could talk about. Um, so that I rabbit holed on those books. I read the J.D. Robb, and then I got here, I'll give it another plug since we're here. Then I received The Enchanted Greenhouse from my editor. And that's another arc, because she asked me if I would do an endorsement quote for it, and so of course I had to read that. And now I'm a little bit behind because I'm supposed to be beta reading a book for a friend, and I haven't, because I thought I should at least try over the weekend. I think I just started Saturday morning reading this one for the book group. And I had asked my friend Jim Sorensen, who's in this group also, if I would like it. He's very good at knowing whether or not I'm going to like a book. So I don't mind being the princess. I'm like, just tell me if I'm going to like it. And he said it was a mixed bag. And we kind of talked about it, Writer Coffee, on Thursday morning, why he felt like it was a mixed bag. And he said, well, I don't want to spoil things for you. And I'm like, no, go ahead. And then he was concerned that he was going to ruin the experience of reading the book for me by telling me the things he didn't like. And I said, no, I'm going to try to read it anyway, but I'm going to fast read it. So I started reading it on Saturday morning and really, really liked the beginning. I thought, I wonder why Jim didn't like this book, which he would argue with me. He would say that's not that he didn't like it, but that it was a mixed bag. So I'm reading, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think, well, you know what? I'm just going to spend the weekend reading this book, which, resting, right? It's been a long time since I've just sat around and read a book. And yesterday I did laundry, but then I also spent a whole lot of the day reading this book. And I've only gotten to midpoint, but I felt like it started to fall apart around 35-40%. Which is the sign of a sagging middle. That's what we call that. It's when the book starts to lose forward momentum in the middle. Very characteristic of a first novel. This one's traditionally published with a very good press, and I'm surprised. I want to say it should have been better edited. There's a lot of fat in the middle. There's a lot of stuff that feels repetitive. It feels like it's circling. It also, and this is kind of characteristic of a first novel too, is overly ambitious. And I have kind of put together my quip for the book group, where I want to say that even Orson Scott Card, and yeah, problematic, awful, but unfortunately, because he's such a brilliant writer, but even the great Orson Scott Card had to write Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead, and Xenocide as 3 separate books. And I feel like what this book is trying to do is put a whole lot of that into this book. A lot of similar things, a lot of really great themes. And I thought where the book started, I wish it had stayed on that particular trajectory instead of adding in and adding in. And my point here is, and I will probably never ever tell you what this book is, because, no need to go after a particular author. But for those of you out there who are early in your careers, writing your first book or your first books, this is a lesson I had to learn. I think when you're a new author, you keep feeling like it's not enough. There's not enough in this book. I need to add in more. And and listen to Auntie Jeffy. No, you do not. Do not add in more. Keep it simple. There is nothing wrong with keeping the story simple. Ender's Game, if you haven't read it, if you can read it without supporting Orson Scott Card. I don't know. It's so hard. But it started as a novella, which was then expanded into a novel. And it's a good study because you can see the crystal clarity of the novella idea is at the heart of that book. It's essentially the beginning of the book. And it's fairly easy to tell where the novella ended and the expanded novel began. Just interesting things to study. So, on that note, I am going to get to work on my revision. It's actually going really well. Thank you for asking. A Rose in the Mirror, it's coming along quite nicely. I'm feeling good about it. I'm up to page 44. Did a whole bunch of chapter rearranging. Now I'm writing the new POV. And then a special bonus. Could you hear that? If you can hear construction, you should be able to hear that. That's the wren. First time I've heard the wren this spring. A sign of hope and happiness. Such a pretty song. Okay, well, hopefully, I think it was recording that whole time, so you will have gotten me staring puzzledly at the screen. My Google froze. Or Google, Chrome. Is everyone getting this? Chrome is freezing. I keep saying I'm going to switch to Firefox, and I should do it. So anyway, Wrens, 44 pages, happiness, wishing you all. I will talk to you all on Friday. You all take care. Bye-bye.